fuck would you want to be in a relationship that you know won't last? Like, don't put yourself in that spot. It's not worth it. Hi, I'm Paula, the girl that sits here every Tuesday to just talk about things that happen to all of us but that we don't talk about enough. And today I wanted to talk about some of the signs that a relationship it's not going to last. And remember that spotting these signs in your relationship or prospect relationship doesn't mean that it's an imminent breakup. Just take them as a warning sign that there are things that you should be working on with your partner or partners in order to make the relationship stronger. The first sign is that you realize that you constantly have to sacrifice yourself, your feelings, and overall who you are to please them. Babe, that won't last forever. Trust me. Being in a relationship like this is simply exhausting, and the whole time you're going to feel like you're grieving a love you wish you had. And it doesn't matter what you do, you're constantly going to be feeling like you are not enough. And that's not something you can tolerate forever. And even if you could, why would you want to be in a relationship like that? And you may be thinking that they will change and that it's just a matter of time. And it's incredibly valid that you want to work for your relationship and make sacrifices to make it work. But is it really worth it to be in a relationship where you are the sacrifice? Because one thing it's, let's say, sacrificing having to go to the gym for a week because your partner is sick and you need to take care of them. And another thing, it's having to sacrifice all of you in order to make the relationship work. Why would you want to be with someone that doesn't want to be with you? Listen, no person that loves you will ask you to give up on yourself just for the relationship. That's not an act of love. Love is supposed to make you feel good. The next sign is that you very often realize that you would rather be with other people or doing something different than being with them. And it's not that you just don't want to be with them for the sake of it, because you probably do. You just hope an excuse comes up, because most of the times you are with them for one reason or another, you end up feeling bad. It's kind of like when an introverted wants to go to a party or something, but they just wish an excuse comes up so they don't have to go, but it doesn't feel like it was their decision, but more of like oh well, it just happened, we'll have to cancel and reschedule type of situation. So it's not like you don't want to be with your partner, it's just that being with them makes you feel bad, so you would just rather not experience that feeling. Being with your partner shouldn't be making you feel bad, and in a healthy relationship, you wouldn't wish to just not spend time with your partner, because if you do, then the relationship feels like it's at risk. Next sign is that all of you lost the intention to surprise or impress each other. And relationships get monotonous. That's okay. It's normal. It's actually amazing that you get to feel comfortable with someone to the point that they just feel like a normal part of your life, but that's no excuse to start taking the relationship and your partner or partners for granted. If you're with a person that feels like just because they already have you, then they can just put zero effort into you and the relationship and it'd be alright. You are going to need to have a serious conversation with them, because that's the first step of you falling out of love with your partner. If you've ever had a crush, or you've at least been in a situationship, you know, like this feeling that you get when you want to just make the other person feel happy and you want to like make things for them and impress them and try to like make them fall for you. And you know, also this feeling when your crush or someone that you like just gives you a compliment or gives you some type of gift or something that you just feel like it's the best day of your life. That feeling, that's one of the most important things that need to be kept in the relationship, because that's what keeps that spark alive. It's actually very common for people to just overlook that feeling once the relationship starts getting more serious and the partner just becomes like a part of our lives. But if you feel like that's your case, it's important that you talk to your partner, not because that's just like a sign you should break up, but because it's important to keep the spark alive so that you keep feeling comfortable in the relationship. And if you feel like you are the person who is taking the relationship for granted, then this is your sign to just think about a way to surprise your partner or to impress them or to just try to bring back that spark to make sure you always feel like you're in love with them. The next sign is when the relationship and your dynamics give you more anxiety than what's considered usual for you. We hear very often that a good and healthy relationship shouldn't give you anxiety, and ideally that's the goal, but let's touch some grass and be honest, everybody feels anxious to a certain extent, and that's normal. Actually, relationship anxiety is way much more common than you think, even if you don't have an anxious attachment style. So the problem doesn't really rely on if whether you feel anxiety or not, but it actually is about how much anxiety you're feeling. Because if your partner or the relationship is making you feel an insane amount of anxiety, like an amount of anxiety you know it's not normal or expected in you, that's a huge sign that something needs to change, because living like that, it's not something that you are going to tolerate forever. And your relationship and your partner or partners should definitely not be just taking you out of your mind and giving you some type of anxiety that otherwise you wouldn't be experiencing. The next sign is that you never talk about the future and how the relationship may be placed in there. And I'm not talking about making wedding and moving on plans as soon as you get together. No, calm down. I'm talking about sharing your aspirations and goals for the future to make sure that you are compatible and that what the other person wants actually matches what you want to do with your life. If you want to build a long-lasting relationship, you should not be scared to talk about the future and how this prospect relationship and its dynamics will fall in there. So conversations like if you want to move to another country, marriage, children, living together and stuff like that need to be discussed as soon as possible, or at least as soon as you feel like you're actually getting serious with that person, before it's too late and you realize that they are actually not compatible with you and that you are not going to be able to build a life together. Because let's be honest, there's things like having kids that you need to sort out before you fall deeply for this person. Because if you want kids and the other person doesn't want kids, that's not something that can be worked out, you know? Either of you should be forced to change a decision such as radical as that one just to please the other person. Like, it's just not fair for anyone. It also doesn't mean that as soon as you spot something that can be seen as an obstacle, then it's an immediate sign to break up. No, actually most of the things can be worked out, and the whole point of this is that you can make sure that you and the other person are compatible in matter of plans, aspirations, goals, ideals, and any other thing that can be worked out. You can probably work it out with your partner. What matters is that you are obviously focused on the present, but also aware if this person is compatible with you, so that you can start working out and building dynamics that feel good for everybody involved and that allow space for the relationship to grow in whatever direction you want to take it. And the last sign is that you just have this gut feeling that they are not your ideal partner. And I'm not talking about idealizing your partner in love and romance and thinking that they should be like the ultimate top lover. No. Let's be honest, nobody is perfect, and your partner sure is not the exception. Like, they're definitely not perfect, but you feel like they are perfect for you, if that makes sense. If you are already in a serious relationship or you have plans of building a serious relationship with someone, you should always make sure that you have this feeling that it would be okay if you could spend the rest of your life with this person, not because they're perfect, but because they are right for you. You know this feeling that you just have when it's the right person. And I do feel like the right person exists, because I don't think that we should settle for people that makes us feel like, man, it's okay, but it could be better, just because we think that love is actually not real, or that it's too much to ask for someone that actually makes us feel good. Your partner or your partners should make you feel good. Like, don't settle for something mediocre or for the wrong person just because you think you don't deserve the best. You have this gut feeling that that person is just not it. There are two things you can do. Either you tell them and try to see if there's any way in which you can work it out. Obviously, you're not going to ask them to make a whole 180 and just change everything about who they are. I'm talking about things like maybe working on new type of love languages or stuff like that to make you feel actually loved. Or you break up with them. Because let's be honest, it's not fair for you to be with someone who you just don't feel fully committed to, and it's also not fair to the other person that they're with someone that actually doesn't feel sure about them. And that's valid. It's okay. Sometimes we fall in love with people and then we realize that things actually don't work out, and that's okay, you know? We are not meant to be with everybody. Sometimes we are just not compatible, and that's okay as long as there's communication and feelings are respected. And in case you have this feeling that, you know, they are the person, but you just don't feel fully sure, ask yourself this question. If that person was your kid, would you be proud of them? Like, would you be proud of the way they behave, of what they want to do with their life? Would you feel like they are a good person? Would you feel like they are a good partner? If the answer is yes, you're with a person that's right for you. If the answer is no, though, maybe it's time to reconsider if you actually want to be with that person or not. The best thing to do to see if a person is right for you is to see them from the point of view of someone else. You know, either as their mother or sister or father or brother or whatever. Just try to look at them at the point of view of someone else and see what you would think of them. And remember that the best sign to know that something is off is how you feel. If you don't feel alright, then there are things that have to be worked out. Your feelings are valid, and feeling that something is wrong doesn't mean that the relationship is going to end. It just means that there are things that have to be discussed with your partner. Don't settle for things that make you feel bad just because you think that's the best you can get, or because you think you don't deserve better, because you do. And in case you want to see what are the signs that your relationship is actually going pretty well, you can check out this other video. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I send you a massive hug. Remember that you are not alone, and see you next week.